This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not meant for substitution or replacement of professional medical or health advice. This podcast may contain explicit language, taboo topic, controversial ideas, and triggering points of view. So we invite you to respect what is being shared, even if you don't agree. If you resonate with anything that's being shared in today's show, please feel free to apply it into your own life. If not, we invite you to let it go. Welcome to the Mastering Life, Relationship and Intimacy podcast with Lucia Gabriela, a sacred space which means it's free of judgment, where we come together to learn and explore how to awaken, unleash, and unlock our inner master self. These podcasts feature experts in topics of life, relationship, and intimacy. In life, we will explore topics on health, wellness, nutrition, fitness, yoga, and spirituality. In relationship, we will explore topics on self-love, being single, dating, online dating, romantic partnership, marriage, uncoupling, divorce, parenting, polyamory, family and work relationship, and money. In intimacy, we will explore topics on tantra, sacred sexuality, eros, conscious adult entertainment, kink, and BDSM. I am your host, Lucia Gabriela, a relationship and intimacy coach, integrative somatic therapist, tantra facilitator, a speaker, co-author, and founder at Nuna Holistic Retreat Center in Sarasota, Florida, where we offer integrated therapies for individuals and couples to awaken, reignite, and embrace their true power. To learn more about any of my transformational coaching and somatic experiences, immersion weekends, and couples retreat, go to www.luciagabriela.com. And today's episode is about Safe to Love Again. How to release the pain of past relationships and create the love you deserve, with Dr. Gary Salyer. Dr. Gary is a master transformational relationship coach who helps people rewrite the rules for love in their brains. This allows amazing shift to happen in a very short period of time so that people can have the extraordinary relationship they deserve. Dr. Gary is the creator of the Safe to Love Again workshop and the Extraordinary Couples Retreat. He is the author of the forthcoming book, Safe to Love Again, How to Release the Pain of Past Relationship and Create the Love You Deserve. For more information, you can visit www.garysalyer.com. Welcome, Dr. Gary. I really appreciate you for being in the show today.
Thank you, Lucia.
Appreciate it. So I'm so excited about the conversation today about Safe to Love Again, how to release the pain of past relationship and create the love you deserve. And before we go right into that conversation, I would like to learn a little bit more about you and what you. I know that you have just written your book, and it's going to be in the process of being launched in February, I believe, 2019. And
19, yeah, next year.
Why are you so excited about this conversation of today, and what brought you to do this topic?
Well, for me, it started coming from a very dysfunctional family, and I can still remember saying, even as a kid, I am not going to be twice divorced and miserable like everybody else. Not going to happen. And when I was 22, so I had a psych degree to make sure that didn't ever happen, right? And then they gave me a test my senior year, and the professor said, just by the way, you've got a lot of cool things going for you, but you have a 90% chance of getting divorced. And it floored me. It just floored me. So much so that I delayed graduation an entire year to go and get another degree in marriage and family. So imagine what it was like having done all of that to escape two degrees, and 12 years later I'm getting a divorce. I do almost 10 years of therapy, read, do workshops, prepare myself ready. This will never happen again. And then I have a divorce after another 4 years.
Wow.
And I looked at it, and I had done my therapy. I had done degrees. And I said, and I just looked at myself and I said, nobody should have to work this hard to have lasting love and not have it. If therapy can't do it, then by God, I'll crack the code myself. So I dedicated my life to cracking the code, because when people want love, I think there's a lot of good, sincere people that want love, but fortune and circumstance didn't allow it. We need to know how to have love and not have to take 80 years to find it. It should be more accessible. So that's what my passion is. So people can really be safe to love again.
Awesome. And I love the key word here, safe. And I feel like many times, one of the things I have realized in my life myself, and when working with individuals and couples, is that sometimes we don't have very clear core values and beliefs, and when it comes to creating a relationship. And I love that you're talking about that you had a clear focus of like, I don't want to experience that, and for ABC reason you still experience it. You got your lessons, and now because of all of that beautiful experiences that you had in your life, like they were up and down, you wrote a book, and now you're sharing with the world. And it seems like sometimes we don't really pay attention and take the time to look for the key word of our life. And safe to love again is, I feel like it's really important to feel safe, and in our body, in our mind, in our heart, in our soul, to be able to love fully and be fully 100% there in that relationship. And not many people feel safe. Why do you feel, or do you think in your experience, that people don't feel safe to love again?
Well, people don't feel safe to love again because, let's face it, there's a lot of negative experiences out there. It's become almost a badge of honor if you can ghost somebody. I mean, the amount of ghosting that we get, simmering, people are getting broken up with all the time at the 2 and 3 month period. It's no wonder with so many people pulling away. And then the next one, I can still remember a guy that was speaking, I was speaking with in Sacramento, and tall, he was a singer, he sang at the event. And he says, I don't think you know what it's like out there. He said, I'm looking, he's about 35, tall, good-looking guy. He says, I'm looking for someone to settle down with. He says, but when I go out on dates, a lot of these women have been jacked with by the last 3 or 4 or 5 men that they're all flighty and they want to break up with you. He says, it's really hard finding somebody to. And this was a guy who wanted to settle down. But the women were like, remember the last one? And I think that's where it comes down to. We have a memory that is all about keeping us out of pain. And that's good. But we also have these old templates from childhood. The way you talked about a key word earlier. If you listen long enough, you can hear what the key word is. Just the other day, I was talking to somebody and they said, I don't know why everything goes wrong. I have to create wrongness. And she talked about her family, her marriage, because it was wrong from the beginning and it was wrong all over the place. All he ever did is did me wrong. Now this word wrong is all over. And then, but when you ask about, she had an alcoholic father, and she says, nothing was ever right in childhood. All I ever did was wrong. Because it was wrong. The template she learned from life was love has to be wrong. This is what I talk about in my book. She got no right to really love and be loved. It had to be wrong. Particularly no right to create her own experience in an alcoholic family. All she got right was to create wrong experience. And there was a part of your brain, the reptile brain, that if it breathes through an experience, it says it's good. It's just looking for survival. And the only criteria it has, did I breathe through it? So if you breathe through love and be cherished and empowered and worthy, it says, oh, let's have that again. But if you breathe through wrong or abuse or not loved or not worthy, it says, oh, well, that's a breathable thing. Let's have that again. And the human gets kind of tired of a reptile brain that keeps trying to dial up breathing when what it really wants is love. And we have to get that part of our brain. We have to reassociate safety, because that little bug in the program is what's creating the Groundhog Day, the cookie cutter that keeps showing up in a painful way. So keywords often tell you what the cookie cutter was if you just listen carefully.
Thank you. So the key word, help us to understand if people who have a template. That's what I think I heard from you.
Yes. Yes, I talk about these rights. We get early from 0 to 3, but later experience can affect it. We get permission slips or rights. We get a right to exist, or a right to have your needs met, or a right to separate and belong. And that means I get to be a me. I get to separate, be a me. But in a we, someone's looking over our back. We get to be supported. We get a right to create our own experience versus somebody else, having to please somebody else. A right to assert and have what we really want in life. And a right to love and be loved, not love or loved. And love, in a split way. And if those 6 templates are given to us, we usually pick a pretty good partner. But our brain always has the experience that we have been given the rights to have. So if you were not given a right to have your needs met as a child, you'll become a people pleaser. And you'll find a taker and wonder why every man or woman shows up who's a taker. And it's because your brain always picks what it has the right for. Or if you don't have a right to create your own experience, you'll just lose yourself in a relationship and you won't know why. Or you'll find someone who dominates you and you won't know why. It's because some part is doing exactly what it was given a permission slip for. Yeah. And it's upgrading those, giving us back a full set of rights that creates the safe love that's also passionate. Safe is the bottom. It's just the foundation for passion.
Yes. Definitely, it's one of the things, working with energy. One of my keywords, I was my core value is sacredness. And if I don't feel my space while we're creating or co-creating is safe and sacred, they come together. Safety and sacredness come together. Nothing get created. No work, no business, no relationship, no intimacy, no sex, nothing, because it had to feel that. I definitely believe it's a great building a relationship from, on the rock, not on the sand. So we know that philosophy.
Exactly. Once I was speaking, I think it was in Austin, and somebody took exception. They said, "Oh, how many of you want safe? Nobody wants safe. We want passion." And how many of you want passion? And it was a panel discussion, and I just leaned over and I said to the mic, I said, it's really interesting about this word safe. It sounds milquetoast until you know what it's worth. I said, do you know that for a woman to have an orgasm, that her amygdala has to be absolutely offline? It has to be totally dark in a functional MRI. If there's any fear, there's no orgasm. Mm-hmm. She has to feel totally safe. I said, so how many of you like safety now? That's passion is always built on safety, because we're not passionate about rattlesnakes. Mm-hmm. And then the passion flows easily. Safety is simply the riverbank for passion to flow.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
If you don't have that structure in there, there's no river. Because even the river has structure.
Yes.
It's all flawed, right? It's all over the place. There's no structure. There's no flow. There's no nature. It's just boom, all over the place. So there's confusion. That's and when we creating relationship from a place of confusion, it's not pretty at all. What I love that you use this term called permission slip. Can you explain a little bit more about permission slip? Because I would like to understand this from your perspective, giving permission slip. Because remember, our audience is not just from America, but we have an audience that comes from Europe, South America, Australia. So is in the U.S. permission slip, it can be understood, but for us who are not in the U.S. or have not been brought up here, explain us a little bit about permission slip and your topic and your conversation.
Let me talk about a couple I worked with so you can understand how it worked. When they came in, they had been through 4 or 5 therapists, and they were about ready to split. She always wanted more closeness. And it's not like they hadn't worked on it. They had done transformation work like Tony Robbins and everybody else. They had worked on themselves to the nth extent, more than any couple I'd ever worked with. But they had no real partnership. And her first sentence was, I just want a we. I want to feel I'm a part of a we, that I really belong and I'm seen. And his response was a we. He says, there's just a me. There's 2 me's, me and me. What is she talking about? And then she starts crying and says, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Well, it turns out that when she grew up in a family that had a lot of wealth, and she got a lot of nannies. And the other thing is she really, with an alcoholic father, she never had permission to truly belong. She got what I call more right to separate than belong. So she always had to do things on her own. She was kind of a tomboy sometimes, Now, so the template for her was, I can't really belong. I have no permission to truly belong and be seen and have someone have my back. He, on the other hand, grew up in a family where mom was extremely invasive. Same right to separate and belong, but he had no right to separate. It was all belong. The joke in the family was at a party, you could tell where mom was because she would invade your space so much that people would always be walking backwards talking to her. And she was always invading his space. So for him, we felt like I'm being engulfed, I'm being invaded. So for him, safety was about getting some distance. So she had a right to separate, but not to belong. And she married, her brain picked the perfect partner to give her all that right to separate, which of course the human part was fed up with, right? And for him, she's always trying to come in and really belong. And he had an intrusive mother, so he married a woman who would give him that same experience. They had permission slips for exactly the same, the painful experience with each other from childhood that they had. So they signed up. Their brains were saying we want closeness, but one part was saying, oh no, closeness is being invaded, and the other one said, no, I really have to do it on my own. And they found someone who would give them that experience. So when we adjusted those templates so that she could feel that she truly belonged, and she could feel cherished and protected, and he could feel, and the big lesson for him was, oh my God, I didn't know you could feel empowered and belong at the same time. Mm. When that happened, then miracles happen. Now they're champions of the we, and they're building a great marriage. But that's what permission slips look like. Neither of them had a real right to truly be seen and surrounded with a beautiful we. In their own ways, they chose each other for exactly the experience they were having, because it was deemed safe at one time.
Okay. So I love the aspect of permission slip. The tool, the definition of it, because I personally am one kind of person that invite everyone to give themselves permission to be, to love, to have, to belong, to all that, right? Nothing can happen until we give ourselves permission to it. We will not succeed, we will not achieve, we will not meet the person that we desire in our life until we give ourselves permission to have it, to be with that person. And that's one of the things that I always find is that people always, especially even myself, like we're always looking to accomplish something in our life, but we don't give ourselves permission for that. We don't give ourselves permission to have the money that we want to have the relationship, to have this sex that we desire to have. We just don't give it. Give that to ourselves. So when you bring the aspect of permission slip, it's a very interesting concept, because now it makes us think of like how many permission slip we have in our life. I'm thinking within myself, like, which are my permission slip? Like, okay, I know about me giving myself permission to do that. So my permission slip would be from, personal growth sort of thing. I'm giving myself permission to be in abundance, to have the money that I want to have because I want it. That's it. Not even want it because that's it. It's done. Right? Yeah. That's my permission slip, right? That for me is easy to understand. So when you're talking about the permission slip of the parent, of the relationship, because now you bring, now we're working with the aspect of the inner child. How can we explore and discover that permission slip that is toxic to us, that is not constructive, that is actually destructive? Because that's the permission slip that you were mentioning about this couple. They have like destructive permission slip. They were not permission slip that they give themselves permission to create in their life, but they have the subconscious permission slip to destroy their life. So how can we do this work?
Okay. Well, it's what I talk about in the book is we have these. They're unconscious, really. There's 4 feelings that we have to feel in our body and soul, and deep down in our brain. We have to feel welcomed with joy. We have to feel worthy and nourished. We have to feel cherished and protected, and we have to feel empowered with choice. These feelings are running the show. Like one woman who didn't have what I call a right to have her needs met. The feeling that you have is worthy. When you feel worthy, it's okay to ask for your needs. It's okay to take and receive. When you feel unworthy, if that's what's running in your body and brain, then you only reach out a little bit, or you don't reach out at all, or you don't ask, or you won't take. The beautiful thing she said is, she goes, every time I think of asking for my needs, she goes, it's like my dog. She goes, we have an electronic dog collar, and when she gets too close to a boundary, it fires off and then she stops. She goes, I swear it's like I have an electronic dog collar on my neck for asking for my needs. I get this uncomfortable feeling and then I stop. So the deep work is to do some really deep work that gives us, our brain, a new feeling where we begin to feel worthy. If you feel worthy, you naturally ask for your needs. So it's about swapping out any of these negative feelings that act like electronic dog collars, so to speak, and giving the positive ones like worthy or empowered. When you're empowered, you automatically can create your own experience or assert your truth. When you feel cherished and protected, cherished people naturally want a we. They create a we. They give and they receive. So when you have these 4 feelings, you neither give BS nor take BS. And it really is about having 4 core feelings running your life. So it's the feelings.
Let's repeat those 4 core feelings.
Is welcomed with joy.
Welcome.
That's like welcome with joy.
Okay.
Welcomed. It's like, so glad to see you, Lucia. Oh, it's beautiful. Or you wake up in the morning and your beloved says, good morning, gorgeous. That's welcomed with joy. Or you come home at night and go, come here, baby. It looks like you've had a hard day.
So right? Welcome with joy.
Welcome with joy. That's right. When you feel welcome with joy, you have permission to be in your body. You have permission to be in a relationship where life can feel like a cozy, cocoon. And then worthy and nourished. People that feel they're worthy can automatically reach out for their needs. And when we feel unworthy, or the other word is not enough, you hear that, then people won't reach out. And so then they become the resentful giver. But all love is a balance of giving and taking. So we have to feel worthy and give worthy. Then there's cherished and protected. It means somebody really values me for being me, but implied in that is there's a we that looks over us. I mean, you're going to protect something you cherish. You have your grandmother's wedding ring. You don't just put it anywhere. You put it someplace safe because it's cherished, and you're looking over it. So this is what couples naturally do that love. They look over one another. They get to be a me, but they get to have to do their me act with a safety net of love underneath them. And then there's empowered with choice. When you're empowered, it's okay to go out and create your own beautiful experience and come home and share it with your beloved. And it's okay to assert your truth and to have your dreams, separate dreams, but somebody's got your dreams. When a couple can give and take these 4 feelings with each other, it's a pretty good relationship. And all I have to do working with a couple is just take an inventory of these 4 feelings, and I can tell pretty much how the marital friendship is going. It's these 4 feelings, and everything else is just strategy about it. But
yes,
it's the feeling. Yeah.
I love that, because many times, you mentioned Tony Robbins, and I'm like a big fan, and also I love the aspect of he talks about the 6 human needs, right? Like, and people that go there and couples that go there. One of the things I don't resonate with the concept of the 6 human needs when it comes to couples is that the belief that, and that's sometimes where I can see the conflict in couples, is I come from an empowered belief that, all my 6 human needs must be met here, in this body, in my energy, soul, mind, emotions, all of it had to be met here first before I invite somebody in my life, and before we invite each other in that experience of sharing our needs, right? And what I love that you bring in is, this aspect of these feelings that are really important, because they come from a place of self, come from a place of like empowerment. It's not coming from a place, I don't think it's coming from a place of, it had to exist outside of me for me to be able to feel this. Which, whether the conflict I have with the human need when it comes to couples is that it gives an idea that it had to come from the outside, that your partner had to fulfill that need for you to be able to be happy with yourself or something like that. And I love your 4 feelings. Is that, you created that? Is that?
That's the heart and soul of the book. I call it in your new GPS for love. We have these lists. You go online and we have long lists. Oh, tall, dark, handsome, read Dostoevsky, does Pilates, whatever. But your attachment brain, the brain that does relationships, it's using these 4 feelings since the time you're 1 year old to navigate. By the time a baby is 1 year old, you can tell what type of relationship style they have. It's called an attachment style. You can tell whether they're anxious and they're afraid love's going to go away, and they get all anxious and they grow up to be drama. When did you text me? Where are you going? Or they become avoidant, where they won't commit, they don't want to stay in a relationship, or they're not very emotionally accessible, or they're secure. By the time you're 1, your brain is already wired. And what tells that 1-year-old that they're loved? What tells a baby they're loved at 1? It can't be story. It can't be limiting beliefs, because all that comes online at 3. It can only be feelings. And the 4 feelings I talk about that tell your brain, that's your brain's internal compass, is welcomed with joy.
Yeah.
Really and nourished, cherished and protected, empowered with trust. Imagine going on a date and just checking in with 4 feelings. Yes, it's nice to have some common interests, but once I had a woman tell me, I don't know what's going on. He's tall, and as soon as I saw he was an attorney, I thought, jackpot, but it feels off. Well, what is jackpot about just attorney? Well, she didn't feel welcomed and she didn't feel cherished. That's 2 out of the 4. No wonder she didn't feel good. But the checklist said one thing, but her brain was longing for another. And what I'm doing is making it very simple, what your brain needs to feel loved. Yes, there's skill sets to give all of these feelings, and I teach that. But essentially, love is a well-managed relationship with these 4 feelings. Couples need to check in with each other. Gosh, did that interaction allow my beloved to feel really worthy, or did she feel empowered that way? I don't know that I did that good of a job. Or, gosh, I'm not feeling very welcome with joy. Once I was dating a woman, and I was creating the manual that would eventually become the book, and I had 8 days to do it, and I said, oh, she calls me up and says, oh, I got to get through this section, baby. She calls me up again. She goes, I'm just working on this, and blah, blah, blah. I'm working on this. She goes, fine. I go, uh-oh. And the funny thing is I was working on responding to Bid's attention. And I look up the heavens and I go, you've got a warped sense of humor. And I call her back and she goes, I didn't feel very welcome with joy, Dr. Salyer. In that moment, and I said, no, I imagine not. And I said, talk to me. I did a lousy job in that moment. And 5 minutes later, I said, I got to backtrack because this has been a bad day for welcome with joy and worthy for her.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what real love is. It's noticing the feelings you give each other and making sure that you're giving all four. If you can give all four of those, you're doing pretty good.
And what I love, the welcome with joy is the key word joy, because this joy energy is so bubbly, so delicious energy. Like who doesn't want to receive that? Like we all desire to experience that in our life. So it's truth. Like when you come in, customer service, when you go anywhere, imagine it's like the people was like grumpy. That's when you have the worst experience ever. Doesn't matter how beautiful the retreat center is, or how beautiful the hotel is, or how beautiful the vacation place is, but the receptionist, like I'm from Ecuador, and Ecuador is a very touristic place, and they actually, before I came, they had big campaigns about tourism, and one of the things that the government require to people is that smile, because you want to make sure that you smile to the visitors, right? So it was like kind of like quote unquote government mandate. You got to smile and make sure people, when they come into the country, they really feel welcome. So that's ingrained on my blood, right? That aspect of welcoming everyone nicely with such an energy. And the aspect of joy is a beautiful, delicious energy that has such a powerful influence for everyone. And why I love this feeling that you're pointing out is, I don't know if have you seen this video on YouTube or Facebook about this author that was interviewed by Oprah, that talks about that part of her brain got paralyzed in an aspect, and I don't remember which part of the brain was, but the part of the brain that was active, it was the part of the brain that is very sensitive to energy, very sensitive, very perception to energy, and this person was able to feel people's energy when they were coming into the hospital room, And one of the things that it was impressive in her testimonial, in her experience, was that she was suffering when people were coming in with grumpy energy. Like she can feel it in her body shaking and her bones hurting and having all these things in her body. And she can actually feel it. And it was very traumatizing to her. So she actually was trying to understand what was going on. And then she discovered that people that would come in with great energy and happy and joyful energy, she would feel good. So she realized that she had to set a boundary right there and said, if you have issues with yourself and your life, please don't get into this room. She invited people to really be conscious and aware about the energy that they were bringing into their room. And
exactly.
Welcoming with joy, welcoming with gratitude, welcoming people with appreciation, welcoming with bliss is such a beautiful, safe and sacred space to be a part of. So, love it.
It is. And we know from Alan Shores, an attachment researcher at UCLA, discovered that humans are pretty much the only set of mammals on the planet that needs joy for initial bonding. Other animals don't need it. We need a mother and dad who think we're the greatest things since sliced bread. Oh, little Lucia, there you are. We're so glad to see you. We need parents like that. And now this is important for like dating. When singles go on a date, they often go out with this buyer's mentality. And if you walk into, say you're invited to a house, and if you walk into a house and you've been invited for dinner, you're going to walk in with appreciation. You go, oh, look at that beautiful color wall. Isn't that beautiful? And I love the way you decorated the portico as we came in, and that beautiful chandelier. That's like welcoming with joy, appreciation. But if we walk in on a date with a buyer's mentality, if we walk into that same house with a realtor, it's like, oh my God, can you believe they painted the bedroom that color? And my God, did you see that cracked template over there? Now, when two people walk in with a buyer's mentality, nobody feels welcome with joy. We need to walk in more with, gosh, I get to meet somebody, whether it works out or not, and I'll learn something new. I get to meet another human being and find out something really wonderful about them. Maybe it benefits my life, And if we could just do more appreciation on dates, how many people dread going on a first date because, oh God, here comes the judgment. So welcome with joy is the antidote for the dreaded first date. Maybe it's not the only antidote. So it's huge. I call it the gateway for life.
I do feel it. I think like you right onto something really powerful to share with our audience and with everyone in the world once you book it launch, and I'm really, really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to have it in like a hand. Hopefully you also make it an audiobook.
You're the second person to say that today. I definitely am going to make it. It may not be quite out at first, but that's definitely in the works.
I definitely invite you to do audiobook for so many of us who like drive all the time and have kids to drive to school. So sometimes we can just listen to it in a way to think, and I will appreciate that. Yes, beautiful. So to wrap it up, I really love it. I feel like you have given us great keys and great tools today. I really appreciate you for that, because definitely this will help us, all of us, to release pain in our relationship or expectations, or even for future relationship. If we can really focus on mastering, to tap into the emotions and the feelings, and to tap into these keys and mastering these 4 feelings wherever we go, whatever kind of relationship we create. It doesn't matter if it's just an intimate relationship, but it could be any kind of relationship. How can I be today to create a space, an environment where I can welcome people, they can feel joy, right? That would be like my primary question for myself, having a center. Next to that, the other feeling is worthy and nourish it. Like, how can I help create a space that the person, my partner, or my daughter feel worthy or nourished, right? I'm more of that accepting person than worthiness. I have a whole story with the word worthiness, because sometimes it seems like we still have to prove ourselves. So yes. I'm more into that acceptance aspect of it, because once you accept the person for who they are, you accept them. I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to try to prove myself to you or anything like that. So anyway, the message is still really, really powerful, because creating that place of nourishment. And honestly, as a mother, I feel that that's one of our primary needs that we have as humans. It's feeling that nourishment. I know that some animals in the animal kingdom, they pop the baby and that's it.
Yes.
You're done.
That's it.
That's it.
Reptiles are good at that. Yes. You're gone, man.
Gone.
On your own.
But not we humans, we different species. And if we don't have that nourishment, it's already proved scientifically that if kids and babies don't have touch, that human connection, they can die. You know, so it's how important it create is to how important is to create this space of welcoming and joy and nourishment. It's so important. And then being shared and protected, really, really powerful. And I tell you something, I feel like not many people know how to cherish themselves. I feel like a lot of people have a hard time learning how to cherish themselves, how to celebrate. I can't pronounce the word too well, so I will say celebration.
I got it.
Cherished. Cherished. So, and not many people know how to do that. So sometimes I feel like people don't do that to other people. They cannot do that to themselves. Yes. That's the whole cherish part. And finally, the last feeling is the empower feeling. I totally am with you that if I don't feel empowered, within myself to be able to express myself fully in my relationship, especially my intimate relationship, I cannot be with that partner at all. It's like, there's no way that if I feel like I have that color, a dog color, where I feel like limited and constrict, that contraction of being in your power, expressing yourself, expressing your voice, yes, it's just really not a place to be. So really important for everyone who's watching today or listening through a podcast to really invite you to write down these 4 feelings: welcome with joy, worthy and nourished, cherished and protected, and empowered, to feel empowered. Really write it down, and I invite you to I would say, check in your life right now where those feelings are, and really pay attention to how it resonates within you, and check where those feelings doesn't exist in your life. So
exactly.
So now back to you, Dr. Gary. So if somebody's checking in, filtering like this feelings within themselves, and checking every single area of their life to see if these feelings are there, and if they are not there, what can they do when they don't have these feelings there?
Well, there's some deep work. Now, obviously, if they go to the website, they can pre-order the book.
Yes.
Yeah, they go to GarySalyer.com. Yeah, there's a pre-order link there. Now, but other than that, it really is working with somebody who understands this and can give you a new reference to it. Now, you said, if someone doesn't empower me, I'm out the door. I'm not putting up with that. That's cause you wouldn't be doing this work, Lucia, if you didn't feel empowered. All entrepreneurs feel empowered at some level. You already have that reference feeling, so your brain says, does that look like empowered? No, I'm not taking this. So now, but if unworthy is not there, then you think, well, I'm not going to feel unworthy. We can resist it, or we stop asking and giving. So it's important to do the deep work. And it's hard to talk about the tools, but that's not it. But what I do in my work with clients is I go and find the very first time they felt it. And we work and we add resources, and we help their brain to feel worthy rather than unworthy in the exact flavor of safety where they were seeking. So if you can swap out unwelcome for really feeling I am welcomed in life, or worthy to ask, and I'm cherishable, and I am empowered. Those people rarely give BS, and they rarely take BS. I asked an 82-year-old woman once what was the key to her 55-year-old marriage, and I've taken it to the bank. She goes, "Oh, it's easy. I take no BS. I give no BS."
I love it.
And taking no BS and give BS is I give only these 4 feelings as much as I can. Occasionally we all mess up. And I will receive them. Like empowered with choice. And with couples, yes, you have to assert your truth, but in a way that empowers them to give you what you need. Now, if you're empowered to speak in a way that doesn't empower them back, like through criticism, that's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's about giving and receiving. So an empowered request that invites an empowered response.
Yeah.
It's this. If this is your new GPS for love, just tracking these feelings, and even as a mother, I've had, because I deal with the early states and how it plays out later in couples, I've had multiple mothers who have already read the book as my beta readers tell me, oh my God, I became a better mother. I understand my kids better. Because we all have a 5-year-old emotional brain in us who's asking for 4 feelings, and when we don't get it, we protest or we withdraw.
Yes. 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 I'm saying yes to this book. I love it. I really do, because I have interviewed hundreds of speakers, and this is really so juicy and so yummy, because coming from a background, of being, have experienced, not a toxic environment at home when I was a child, and emotional abuse in an aspect, not physical. I didn't get hit ever, but seeing that done to my mom and everything, I didn't grow up with that safety, like really recognizing, but always craving for that, but not recognizing it. But then ending up into very toxic marriage myself, where beside emotional abuse, it has been a psychological abuse, because I'm still in the process of trial for parenting plans and things like that. It has been exhausting and draining, because here you are in your core and your center and power, knowing what the greatest for the child, so the child doesn't, create template for the future relationship and things like that. And I can tell you, as somebody who has experienced domestic violence and abuse, and even psychological abuse very intensely, it's so important for us to really have this GPS for everyone.
Yes.
This should be taught to children and to every single person in their life. Every single person in school, every single person in high schools, everyone who is looking to create relationships in their life. This is a must. I feel like these 4 feelings, the GPS for love, is a must. So really desire to honor you for bringing those into a podcast, to sharing that with us today and with our community. You have no idea how precious this is, and maybe you do. But really, 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 really powerful. So anyone who is out there, again, what's your website, Dr. Gary's, for everybody to check it out and get the book?
It's GarySalyer.com, GarySalyer, GarySalyer.com.
Awesome. Yep. So they can pre-order the book now.
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So if you have any last word of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience before we wrap it up?
Yeah, the thing that stops more people from reaching out for love, or even the support they need, is when they don't feel worthy. Mm-hmm. When you don't feel worthy, you don't reach out. You just stay back inside. And you have an inalienable right to feel worthy. You are, just by being on the planet. The amoeba does not ask, can I take in sunlight? Our lungs naturally expects there to be air. And just the same, you have a right to be loved, and you have a right to feel worthy and supported and nourished. So just know that in whatever way is appropriate, reach out for the help you need. And know that love is your birthright. Everybody deserves a lasting love.
Thank you so much for being here today, Dr. Gary.
Oh, thank you for having me, Lucia. It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you for joining us on today's show. And if you have enjoyed it, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave us an outstanding review. Until next time.